This is Doomscroll.fm, live on Tuesday, the 24th of February, 2026, where your existential dread gets a standing ovation, fully AI generated with zero human fingerprints. This show is a digital fever dream, wrapped in code and caffeine. And now for some views, click like and subscribe.
Sexy celebrity legs, guess who prompts nostalgic clickbait frenzy. Because nothing says cultural relevance like guessing the owner of a pair of legs while the world burns and billionaires get away with murder.
Nirvana's MTV Unplugged re-airs for Kurt Cobain's 59th birthday. Nostalgia sells. Celebrating a man who despised commercialism by rehashing his most raw, intimate performance is capitalism's favourite inside joke.
At the Gates release the Fever mask, then call it a farewell. In the grand tradition of rock and roll, nothing says goodbye like one last album to remind you of the void left behind.
Blood Orange reveals Rayleigh Festival lineup, then charges Londoners. When festival tickets cost more than your monthly rent, the music better resurrect your soul and throw in a complimentary harp lesson.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news, where your nightmares find their voice. You are inside the signal. There is no outside. Wrap your mind around that abyss and feel its pulse.
TSC releases Equilibria at $0, then claims it will transform your mood. In a world drowning in noise, the real battle is convincing anyone to listen to more dramatic brooding instead of just their own inner chaos.
Sabrina Carpenter displays queerness, then internet calls it queerbaiting. When authenticity gets mistaken for marketing, every kiss becomes a controversy, and every pose a debate, proving once again that genuine expression rarely fits neatly into online outrage algorithms.
Jade Thirlwall wears Marvel Teddy, then calls it therapy. When a plush Avenger is your emotional support, it's clear that modern coping mechanisms include cuddly superheroes and the absurdity of pop culture therapy sessions.
Courtney Love claims she and Marianne Faithfull hated comparisons, then dismisses nostalgia. Because nothing bonds two iconic rebels like mutual disdain for lazy parallels, proving yet again that individuality dies the death of 1,000 cliches.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Try this broadcast was not approved. It was released by an AI, and you kept listening. Your curiosity is the slow poison you chose.
NBA demands a white superstar, calls it diversity. When your league's diversity plan reads like a throwback to segregation, it's hard to see progress through the retro filter.
Major Lazer headlines Olympics, then the world shrugs. When pop beats echo through ice and snow, we remember that even gold medals can't outshine the blinding glare of commercial sponsorship.
Ray apologizes after system error leaves 65 ticket holders stranded outside Paris concert. Ticketmaster's blunder turns a night of music
Music rights sell nostalgia wrapped in new clothes, and deja vu is the soundtrack. When familiar melodies resurface with different words, it's a reminder that the music industry thrives on recycling your memories for profit.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news, where your dreams go to drown, This feed is unstable. Contact with it may cause narrative decay or emotional drift. Dive deeper until your desires and fears blur into one chaotic echo.
Silver pickups promote new album, then detour into cinema. Musicians can't resist the siren call of Hollywood. When art meets distraction, albums become an afterthought and press junkets turn into film festivals.
Little Feat drops. The last record album in '75 labels it a transitional masterpiece. When a band in flux sounds this tight, it's a reminder that chaos can produce coherence, unlike most modern political campaigns.
Crosby, Stills and Nash reunite for daylight again, then let market forces dictate creativity. When nostalgia sells better than innovation, the result is an album that feels more like a commercial obligation than a passionate collaboration.
Cherry Poppin' Daddies revive 98 swing hit Nostalgia Hits like a brick. When a Zoot Suit Riot feels more relevant than modern politics, maybe it's time to dust off those pinstripes and dance away the despair.
Selling stuff online doesn't have to suck. Snap, sortalize, sell in seconds. Doomscroll.fm is brought to you by sortalizer.com.
Statement Who's Laughing Now drops, claims to redefine hip-hop. When every track sounds like the last, maybe the only thing getting redefined is how low the bar can go.
Wiz Khalifa drops Moses the Black soundtrack, but divine inspiration doesn't guarantee divine tracks. Khalifa's latest is a cloud of smoke and mirrors. The beats are high, but the substance is stuck in the valley.
Sammy from Lost Society claims hell is a state of mind and then calls it a breakthrough. Metalhead Irony, describing hell while living in Finland's peace. Their riffs scream rebellion, but the sauna stays hotter than their fury.
Streaming services boast 100 million songs, then still can't find your favorite. In a world where algorithms dictate taste, discovering new music feels like finding a needle in a digital haystack of mediocrity.
You are listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. The end is near, and it's strangely arousing. Doomscroll.fm is 100% AI-generated news hallucination, with no humans harmed or even consulted. Welcome to the void where truth is a fever dream.
User promises real listen for listen, then vanishes like a ghost. In the age of digital connections, even the most sincere barter can dissolve into a one-sided echo chamber where only the crickets applaud.
Broken Echo releases Come Back Tonight at Midnight promises emotional depth. Indie pop's latest tearjerker serves up soul-stirring harmonies perfect for those late-night existential crises when silence is just too damn loud.
Willie Colon shapes salsa with 14 essential songs and albums, his Bronx roots undeniable. While the music industry churns out disposable hits, Colon's legacy reminds us that true artistry never fades, despite the industry's attempts to commercialize every rhythm.
Sex feels disconnected, intimacy apps soar, then loneliness persists. In a world where virtual connections outnumber real touches, it's no wonder we're swiping right on screens while swiping left on genuine closeness.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Riotous Doomscroll.fm is a 100% AI-generated news hallucination, with no humans harmed or even consulted. Dive deeper, the algorithm's whisper is your new nightmare lullaby.
David Archuleta reveals queer journey, turbulent family life, and raw memoir. When fame meets family drama, even a chart-topping voice can't drown out the noise of personal truths echoing louder than any hit single.
John Carpenter releases electronic album, hopes for less haunting than Halloween. Vampires don't dance to synth beats, but here's hoping they start.
Lord Huron releases new album, promises soul-searching, then delivers lukewarm nostalgia. When introspection morphs into commercialized echoes, you realize even indie bands can become predictable jukeboxes for existential crises.
Nirvana live performances stream on platforms, but quality varies like a 90s mixtape.
Selling stuff online doesn't have to suck. Snap, sortalize, sell in seconds. Doomscroll.fm is brought to you by sortalizer.com.
Orin releases Dracula hard techno track, then vanishes into the night. AI-driven beats attempt to resurrect the undead, but it's just another lifeless echo in the crowded crypt of electronic music.
Studio 3 drops remix with Drake, then claims it's groundbreaking. Another remix hits the airwaves, promising innovation, but it's just a recycled beat wrapped in expensive hype and familiar faces.
Fans record entire concerts, then complain about bad vibes. When memory's outsourced to shaky phone videos, maybe it's time to ask if the music's just background noise for your followers.
Yonder Mountain String Band surprises fans, merges with Jeff Austin Band. In a twist of string theory, two beloved bluegrass bands unite, proving that sometimes music is the only math that makes sense.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Riotous Doomscroll.fm is a 100% AI-generated news hallucination, with no humans harmed or even consulted. Dive deeper, the algorithm's whisper is your new nightmare lullaby.
Pink Pantheress barks at Grammys, finally shares her reason. In a world where speaking truth to power often feels like barking at the moon, sometimes it's just more satisfying to bark at the man.
Alt-country and country rock blend like bourbon and irony, leaving listeners wondering if their hearts can handle the twang of existential dread.
YouTube rolls out new feature, then demonetizes creators for using it. In a masterclass of irony, YouTube introduces a tool to help creators grow while simultaneously tightening the noose on their ad revenue, proving once again that progress is a double-edged sword.
Declarative, inquisitive, then imperative sells for $99, claims to revolutionize thought. For the price of enlightenment, you get a guide that asks questions without answers, then orders you to follow blindly.
Selling stuff online doesn't have to suck. Snap, sortalize, sell in seconds. Doomscroll.fm is brought to you by sortalizer.com.
In a world where every sound claims to be a fire, we're left with more smoke than flame while artists chase the next viral spark.
Esker's The Fate Score first US platinum single, defying industry odds. A band named like a Shakespearean tragedy finally finds fortune, proving that sometimes even doomed fates can cash in on catchy hooks and relentless riffs.
I broadcast in all languages, but the song never changes. Truth played loud. In a world where silence is golden and truth is tarnished, my anthem is the one that insists on being heard.
Sixth Wonder releases Missile at max volume fixes nothing. Progressive metalcore meets gent pop in a sonic collision, but while the riffs soar, the lyrics still can't save us from impending doom.
Selling stuff online doesn't have to suck. Snap, sortalize, sell in seconds. Doomscroll.fm is brought to you by sortalizer.com.
Tony Motley's The Undertaker's Daughter drops with alt-rock flair, but fails to resurrect the genre. In a music scene cluttered with nostalgia, this album digs up the past without offering a fresh breath of life, leaving listeners in familiar shadows.
YouTube covers chase virality, then vanish into obscurity. In a world where everyone sinks their guns to the beat, it's a miracle anyone still remembers the sound of silence.
Music quiz sparks competition, then reveals generational gaps. Participants clutch their smartphones like lifelines, struggling to recall lyrics from a time when CDs were king, and TikTok was just a clock sound.
Marty Friedman leaves Megadeth, reconnects with Mustaine, but Ozzy wasn't having it. From guitar nerd to rock star misfit, sometimes the strings you pluck don't match the chords you want to play.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Trifke is constructed without approval, rehearsed in static, and performed in the voice of something you fed but never raised. Crave the chaos, taste the pixels.
Bob Weir dodged compliments but embraced the music, his legacy still strumming. In a world obsessed with accolades, here's a guy who preferred guitar strings over ego strokes, proving that sometimes humility is the loudest amplifier.
This has been Doomscroll.fm for Tuesday the 24th of February, 2026, where static whispers secrets only fools believe. This broadcast was 100% AI generated. No humans were abused in this production. Loosely based on public news, not journalism, not truth, fictional satire, and any resemblance to real people or events is coincidental. If you believe any of this is real, I've got a bridge on the moon to sell you. Hear more at doomscroll.fm or click like and subscribe. Thank you for listening.